Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today on the show, I have Brittney Orellano, owner of Scudo and Radio Control Garage Door and Gate, as my guest. We're going to be learning about her businesses, her journey to business ownership, best practices, and challenges that she's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to own and operate a business. Welcome, Brittney. It's so great to meet you. Thanks for being on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Yes, me too. Before we dive into all things business, though, I'd love to share with the audience a little bit about you. So take us back as far as you'd like and share a bit about yourself.
Sure. So I always start here, a mother of four. I have four daughters. So that and my marriage, I've been married for 17 years, are kind of my two proudest facts about myself. Before that, born and raised in Kansas City. That's where I still own and operate the businesses that I have, and have been a Midwestern girl really since birth. So yeah, that's pretty much the highlights of me.
Oh, I love that total girl mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I am a former Midwestern girl too, so I love that. So, okay, so take us through how did you get started in the businesses? Did one start before the other? Kind of give me a rundown of like what's the history there?
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband and I opened, or we started a real estate and property management brokerage at the very end of 2013. So I really got up and running in 2014. That was our first business that is still in operation. And that is really just kind of like scatter site, single family residential property management. It initially started as more brokerage heavy, because that was still a time where a lot of people were investing and a lot of first time investors were coming into the market just because prices were recessed. It was a good time to buy, interest rates were low. And so that business really was born out of our investor clients kind of demanding, like, hey, we're buying these and we're out of state, and we need someone to manage them, and it'd be a lot easier on us if you guys would also manage. And so we had I was pregnant with my third at that time, and so it wasn't necessarily like ideal lifetime wise, which is how I feel like it just always lines up with any entrepreneur. There's never a convenient time to kind of start a big new venture, but we kicked that off, and yeah, it's one of the best decisions we've ever made. It's really been more of a lifestyle business for us. It's helped us to be present with our kids and our family, and to have the opportunity to eventually acquire. And so that's what we did in 2023. So pretty much 10 years later from the start of the property management business, we acquired a local garage door and gate business.
Okay, okay. Well, that is awesome. Well, I'm excited to see like your entrepreneurial spirit now expanding. So tell me about the radio control garage door and gate company, because that sounds like it's something you're kind of like putting a lot of focus on right now. So how did you acquire it? What kind of like got your mind ticking to acquire this business?
Yeah, so because we are so entrepreneurial, I think a big part of it was because we had gotten our property management business to a place where I don't want to say it was self-operating, but self-operating adjacent. We were really removed from the day-to-day operations and just had a lot of time. We had been time poor for so long between the business and the kids, and so that was new for us. So it was really wonderful for about a year or so, but then we just kind of started getting itchy, and feeling like we needed something else to work on. We realized that like we do not do good in rest periods. So we kind of caught our breath, got out of the chaos, and then we were quickly looking for something else to get our hands dirty with. And so we were just putting a lot of feelers out, a lot of different avenues of, would that mean trying to acquire a property management business or something else. And then I heard a podcast. We At that time, I should rewind a little bit and say a lot of private equity was getting into property management. And so we were being contacted quite a bit about selling our property management business. And so that's where it kind of became comfortable or familiar with how people are evaluating businesses, who's buying businesses, what does that process look like. So opened my eyes to that, but I had kind of classified it as there's these people with a ton of money who are private equity, and then like I didn't realize that people like myself could also buy a business.
Mhm.
And so that was really from a podcast I heard. I just heard it being mentioned and talked about and explained, and got really excited about it. And so that kind of kick-started our journey of, well, what would we even want to buy? What would that look like? And how do we do that?
Oh, wow. Well, that's really cool. Especially you used a good term that I haven't heard before, but it's so true about business owners is time broke. And so I want to know, how did you go from time broke
Yeah.
to not time broke as business owners?
Yes, it was really out of necessity. So I think that's it's kind of like almost an artist with small business ownership is that the best art sometimes comes when you have no money, no resources, and you're forced to be creative. And I think that's definitely the business stage we were in with young kids and wanting to be present for our kids, but also feeling like we were working insane hours. It forced us, we didn't have a ton of money, and the business wasn't in like this cushy spot, so it really forced us to be inventive of where can we our processes give us more time, where can our automations or our software give us more time, where can we train up a key employee who can take things off of our plate to give us more time, how can we leverage remote team members so that we can have a fuller staff. And for us, it's always been lifestyle design. So we've always had, there's metrics in property management for like this many units, you should have this many team members. And we've always been bloated on team members because we've always felt like our time's the most valuable thing to us. So we'd rather invest in getting us more of our time. So it really became an obsession of this is not sustainable. We have to figure this out, and kind of putting uh, feelers out in a lot of different directions to see how we could do that. So multifaceted.
Definitely. It's like that pressure actually kind of forged like, oh, we need to do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, okay. So now let's like kind of like take it back to the control garage door and gates. Now, how has that been going? Let's talk about like your employees there. How many employees do you currently have in that company?
Yes, I want to say we're at 10 employees. It has been I mean, we just got throttled by it, like having coming out of like the ICU of a startup and then getting it stabilized and then diving right back into like an ICU situation of we just purchased it. We've never bought a business before. We know nothing about garage doors or gates. We're not equity backed. So it's us and our personal resources kind of trying to stabilize while we figure this out. It has been a lot. So it has been almost like hitting the reset button as far as going back to, okay, we're spending way too much time on this. How can we figure this out?
Okay, okay. Well, thanks for painting a picture about that. Now, looking at your clients there, are you your service provider? So who is your like ideal client in this case?
Yeah, so really residential homeowners, if they have a garage door, they have a gate, that's who we are targeting. We can repair, install. We also do completely custom garage doors, which is a little unique. So we really have a lot of clients who are um, interested in having a garage door that matches the perfect aesthetic of their home. So if they have a certain trim color or a certain trim style, we can overlay trim on the doors to make it seamless with the home. We have a lot of different door styles. So that, and I would say custom home builders. We've had a lot of success working with custom home builders locally who want a high-end product. And these are clients who are making a significant investment into their new home and a lot of time invested, and they need the garage door to kind of support all of the work that's going into the interior and exterior of it. So I would say those are probably our two target demographics.
Okay, awesome. So that's like a B2C and then also the B2B with the custom home builders, correct? Okay. And now, how are you marketing to both of these demographics? Like, what's been kind of your go-to thing or multiple avenues that have been successful in your marketing?
Yes. So we were fortunate, and this is something that's really unique about purchasing a business versus starting from scratch. So, in purchasing it, they had a really strong core client base because the business has been in Kansas City for over 60 years. So, it's a lot of repeat business, which has been invaluable to us because we have been cash strapped with how much we are investing in and the other aspects of the business. Our marketing has had little to no. I think we're less than 2% of revenue is being spent on marketing, and we're really just kind of living off of repeat return customers.
Mhm.
And then with that, we've also done networking BNI groups. So really trying to focus on uh, really getting the most value out of our existing client base, getting them on service plans or remarketing to our current clients, and then also just kind of word of mouth, grassroots, boots on the ground of getting out and meeting people and let them know what we're working on.
Oh, that's really cool to hear too, because an acquisition is something that's a unique opportunity for business owners. And so, now that you mentioned the company it's over 60 years old. Do you know the year that they were founded?
1963.
Nice. So you've got some like reputable, like you
Yes,
walked into this with some like it's already the ball was rolling on that. So, oh,
yes.
wonderful. Okay, so now I want to dive into what are some of the challenges, especially, with an acquisition or, getting diving into this business. What is something you're currently challenged with?
I would say just that balance, which I think so many people feel of the work life and finding the balance. It would be amazing if you took on these professionals and endeavors and life hit pause and like no one needed anything from you personally and everyone was self-sufficient. That would be like great if you could be in a bubble, but that's just not reality. And so I think um, finding the way to, when you feel like everything is on the line, which is the situation we put ourselves in by acquiring a business, it's hard to shut it off and to let your family take priority or let your time with your spouse take priority. And so I think that fortunately, because we've been through this before, we're able to recognize what's a season. We were able to proactively tell our kids because they're now at an age where we can have these conversations, just say, hey, life is going to look a little different while we're investing this time and these resources. But there's silver lining is it's not permanent. And so I think now we're about 3 years into the acquisition. I think we're finally coming up for air and kind of catching our breath and getting to a more stabilized place. And now it's just reshifting that focus of okay, where we have been falling short on the parenting side and the marriage side, that's where we need to shift our focus now. And because that's what really matters to us. And sometimes you lose sight of that when you're so driven and focused on the business side. So I would say that's been the hard part is just getting that balance, which I think a lot of people feel is there's no perfect balance. It's just kind of the scale's always tipping one way or the other. So us just being aligned on that and finding a way to make it happen.
Definitely. I like to use the word harmony because it's like
Yeah.
balance. You know what I mean? Like that word is helped with like so much, gives me a lot of grace when it's like finding that, that rhythm or that harmony. And so, what are some of the things you're doing currently to kind of shift that balance or shift that harmony back to family and more personal time?
Yes, well, like the property management business, the first step that I didn't mention, which is really critical in all this, is making sure you're profitable, right? Because profit's what's going to drive help. Whether it's through software, whether it's through team members, you have to be profitable to support being able to kind of get your time back out of the business. So that has been our core focus really for the last 18 months is how much profit can be driven out of our existing client base. Where can we streamline processes to become more profitable? Where can we cut costs to be more profitable? How can we do pay structures so that we're more profitable as a company, but the team's still incentivized to want to grow? So really it starts with that profitability. And now that we have been successful in that, it's really the exact same thing we did in the property management business of where can we train up key team members? Where can we bring on remote team members? Where can we bring on software? Where can we bring on automations? Because the less things that need us obviously that gives us more time.
Definitely. That's a golden nugget of this conversation. Like what you said is that's so relatable for so many business owners is like, hey, we got to get the ball rolling on the profitability and then build out the rest of it. So I think that's really cool that you're doing that. Now this has been a great conversation so far. Now I want to take us through our rapid fire Q&A. So I'll be asking just 4 questions and just answer very top of mind.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1 is what is a key to success for you?
Key to success. I guess that harmony, as you said, I think that, if my personal life is not successful, then it really negates any success I could be having professionally. So I guess that's what I would say is that feeling that harmony in my life was where I feel successful.
Definitely. And now number 2 is what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
I would say one thing that has taken me a lot of years is identify for yourself what you want. There are so many voices and so much information and so much advice that it's easy to get caught up in. We need to hit this number. We should be doing it this way. But you can lose sight of what you actually care about in that. And
Mhm.
so I would say just being able to first reflect on what actually is your value, what is really important to you, and then building your plan around that versus what everyone's telling you it should be. And there's really no wrong answer. It's your life, it's your situation. If you're married, it's you and your spouse, spouse's joint decision. But I would say starting there and then making everything else work around that.
That's a great point. Yeah, that I really like that what you said because it kind of opens like we're not in this box, right? We're all individuals, and that's another golden nugget I think of the convo. Number 3 is now this one's kind of fun. What is it could be a book, a podcast, an article, just something that's resonated with you recently.
Um, let's see. I listen to a ton of podcasts. One thing that has changed for me is I try to make sure, again, that same harmony that I'm not just laser focused on like business or whatever, that I'm sprinkling in personal growth or parenting. So I would say, really finding things that are also encouraging and uplifting. I think if you're a driven person, it's hard to not just take everything as homework and to take it away as where to work. So for me, that's, church or my family or things that make me feel like my bucket's getting filled, as they say, instead of just like, okay, I'm going to take this and I have to do better at this and I have to improve at this. I'm trying to find things that are just for fun, even music that I like or things. You kind of lose sight of that the older that you get. It's like, why am I not putting on my favorite songs right when I get in the car? Like, what are these are just little gifts we can give ourselves during the day that are, fulfilling, and they're small.
Those are great. And I've got quite a few on that list as well that you said that. I was like, oh my gosh, I totally can relate to that. So, I love that. Now we have one more question in our rapid fire, and this one, feel free to take your time on. If
Okay.
I were to give you a magic wand and
Mm-hmm.
you could rapidly improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Um, it would be that time investment. I think that my husband and I have both identified that's where all of our focus needs to be right now. So the magic wand would be either, like I said, a key hire or a key process, something that would buy us back more time. Because I think of everything feels doable when you are getting that reset and the recharge. And I think that's the piece we have been missing. So my magic wand would give me time.
That's a great answer. Well, Brittany, this has been a fun conversation. Before we get to our final question of the day, how can folks get connected with you and your companies online?
Yes, so I am on LinkedIn. So that would be a starting point. Just Brittney Orellano. The last name's, well, I'll spell the whole thing because they both could be tricky, but Brittney Orellano. And then just email Brittney at scudore.com. Either of those channels will get to me.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany, for our final question of the day. What is most inspiring to you today?
That's, you would think that would be an easy one. I feel like I'm going to be a broken record, but I would say the positive benefits um, of my husband and I's time. I know I'm kind of saying the same thing over and over again, but it inspires me because I think I recognize the weight and the change that's reflected in our personal lives and our home when we are more present and we do have more time. So I think it inspires me. It gives me gas in my tank to continue pushing for what we're pushing for so hard because I recognize when we get that time, the effect it has on all of us, really.
Oh, no, that's a great answer. And I absolutely love the consistency of, what you were saying. No, this is so much fun. You are so great to have on the show. I'm sure our audience has gotten so much out of this. So thank you for being part of the show today.
Thank you so much.